Okay, good morning. I'm going to go over these are your answer keys for 20 and 21. Uh, these weren't really too difficult. Um, we went over the line type issues and things like that. There's videos for that. These were just basically metric and your introduction to metric. So these are pretty straightforward. Um, like I said, not too mind bending. This is on the 8.5 by 11 metric version though of the border and title block. Dimensions were pretty straightforward. Um, Couple spots that I noticed some things. Some people were dragging and putting these dimensions up over here, which is acceptable. The only thing I would caution you guys against or advise you against, and maybe losing some points for, is when you do these dimensions, don't do something like this where you can see the extension lines, that being the red lines there, cover up the drawing. You don't really want that to happen. So I know some people may throw a penalty flag and say, Sadowski, you said not to put them over here. You say to put them in between the views. Right, when at all possible. We're not supposed to actually try and put dimensions on the actual object either if we can avoid it. How I have my things placed, really couldn't avoid this one uh, anywhere. I could have put a dimension from here to here and not used what's called the leader line method here, but I don't want this to be clogged up, and I didn't want these to be over here with extension lines covering up a lot of my drawings. So I did put them over here, and like I said, as long as it looks neat. I know some people have like one of them sitting over here. It's really not that huge of a deal. You may look on here and see that I put two on here. They're not the same thing. This is dimensioning to the front so that you know that this is 19 and that this is 19. Yes, it looks like they line up with each other, but remember, we in engineering and in drafting and technical drawing, we don't really assume anything. We have to go by what we try not to assume. Um, we go by what we see and what's concrete. And then I put these over on this side a little bit. I know they're kind of outside, but I didn't want to have leader lines going over this dimension over here. I could have put this one over here, I suppose, and then put these over here. I kind of don't like the way it looks when you put two dimensions right on top of each other, stacked like this, and then put the overall over here. But could have done some things a little bit differently, but kind of like the way this one the way this one's dimensioned here. So that's for 20. 21, couple of things on this one to look out for. Your angular measurement down here, you need two things for this chamfer. You can't just put the angle on there. You also have to have either this what's called the setback. So we either have to know how far it is from where this corner would be right here to here, or for where this corner would be from right here down to here. You have to give that 1/4 inch dimension somewhere. You could give it here, you could give it over here, you could give it over here. I like to put it right next to each other so that when someone's trying to read the drawing, they're not searching for things. It's right there for them. They can tell what that is. That was really the only thing that kind of stuck out. You can see center hole locations for this one. I liked the way they dimensioned this right on the drawing. I basically went right off the drawing for this here. One thing I did give, and remember, I said copying the dimensions right from your assignment sheet isn't a terrible strategy. It's not the greatest strategy in the world, but it's not bad. I told you I did it when I was in high school, so uh, no harm, no foul. But you'll notice that on the assignment sheet they gave us this height over here to this center mark, and then we had to figure out kind of on our own this radius here and add it together. If I was giving that, remember, these are to be provided to a machinist or an engineer so they could actually create these. I would not want to make it too difficult for them, so I gave them that dimension here. Okay, so I totaled that up for them and gave them that here because I also like to have overall dimensions. That's one of the kind of unwritten rules of dimensioning is that you have to have the length, the width, and the height total on there so that people know what size they're working with, that they don't have to do a bunch of math to figure it out. So that's why I added that one on there, and that's one of the things that our our assignment sheet didn't have on there is it didn't have an overall. You had to figure it out from this center location and adding this on, which I felt was annoying. So I gave that measurement to us. Okay, so yeah, pulled this one out over here because I had a lot going on over here. Um, but other than that, this one's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward as well. Not too big of a deal to work with on this one.